Welcome to the WRAL Daily Download. I'm Grace Holland. Many are starting their holiday shopping, and for those of you heading to Crabtree Valley Mall, Raleigh Police have a new way to keep shoppers safe. The mall will now be connected to the city's surveillance camera network. WRAL's Brett Kneese walks us through how this works. Brett, thanks for being here.
Hey, thanks for having me. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Yes, happy Thanksgiving, of course. So what is this camera system used by RPD?
Yeah, so it's a program called Connect Raleigh, and a number of cities have it. Fayetteville and Rocky Mount also have it. And it is a network of cameras, privately owned cameras, that the city either knows about or is actually connected to. There's two different ways that they have tracked these cameras in their now network. One is you can register your camera, that way they know about it, whether that's a doorbell camera, your regular security camera on your house, or a business's security camera. But then you can also integrate the camera. Now what that means is that RPD would have direct access to that camera as soon as something happens in your area. They're not monitoring it 24/7. They're only accessing it if an emergency happens in your area. And it just allows them to quickly get an eye on exactly what's going on before an officer may be able to show up at the scene. While they're responding, they're getting a view of the situation.
Okay, and so that's connected through like the cloud world kind of thing?
Yeah, so it's a device called Fuchsius, and yeah, it's cloud-based network, and so that allows them through the good old interwebs to connect to all these cameras. I mean, if you're familiar with a home security camera, whether or not you have one, you have an app on your phone to be able to tap into your home security camera. This device basically lets RPD do the same thing in the event something happens.
Right. Okay. And so obviously these are cameras, I guess, that are already in Crabtree Mall. So how would that work?
Yeah. So these are all the cameras that are, in the parking lots, in and around the building, in the different stores. And it's a whole network of cameras that they have now connected with that Fuchsius device with RPD's real-time crime center. And so that way, if something happens at Crabtree Mall, they are able to tap right in to find exactly where that situation's happening in the mall, identify it, and that way their officers that are responding or any other first responders that are heading to that scene can get a better idea of what's going on while they're on the way. Now, the important thing to note here is we don't know how many cameras are at that mall. Crabtree refuses to tell us exactly how many cameras there are. They say that that's a safety protocol that they have in place. But we do know that from just walking around the mall, there are dozens of cameras out there.
Okay, gotcha. Let's take a quick break right there and we'll be right back. So, Brett, you've been explaining how this camera system works from RPD's side and how it will be used at Crabtree Valley Mall. Can you kind of walk us through what some of the safety scares that we've had at malls in the Triangle and specifically at Crabtree have been recently where this could have come in handy?
Yeah, unfortunately, we've had a number of incidents at malls down in Fayetteville, South Point over in Durham a couple years back. And then at Crabtree specifically last month, they had a shooting in the parking garage on the Macy's side of Crabtree Mall. And in that incident, over 20 different cars were hit by bullets. And one of those cars even had people inside it, including a couple of kids, a couple of teenagers. And it's unfortunate incidents like this that have prompted these security protocols to be enhanced, to be upgraded. And that is one of the most recent ones at Crabtree Mall. But then there was also a scare, I believe, around this time last year where a ladder fell inside the mall. It made such a loud bang that people went running everywhere because they weren't sure what that noise was. So everybody's just kind of on high alert in any public setting these days. And so this Connect Raleigh system is just another layer of security and enhancements for safety so that people can feel a little bit more secure when they're in these public spaces.
Right. And, I remember the latter thing. I obviously remember that shooting last month. Two very different situations. The latter was one that was a false alarm. The one in the parking lot, obviously a lot of damage, a very scary situation there. How might a system like this come in handy when they're trying to assess whether it is a false alarm or not?
Yeah, so they can tap right into those cameras and see everything that's going on. They can get a pretty clear picture, while first responders are heading towards whatever that noise may have been, whatever that if it is a false alarm, they can quickly identify, on these cameras, all right, is there something actively happening right now, an active threat? Or do these cameras show nothing? But then those first responders are still, of course, going to show up no matter what, just to double, triple check that everything is okay. But what's interesting about being able to do this is it makes the process of gathering evidence, witnesses, potential suspects much quicker. So in that shooting that happened last month, the cameras were already there and the cameras were working, but RPD was not connected to those cameras. Fortunately, those cameras did capture a lot of what happened, and so they've already made 3 arrests in relation to that shooting last month. What RPD says is having a direct access to those cameras would allow them to make those arrests quicker, maybe even right away, and it just allows them to mitigate a situation like last month's shooting faster.
Right. Okay. And you were out at the mall you were out at the mall this week. So what did shoppers say about this system when you talked to them?
Yeah, they were really interested to hear a little bit more about it, how it works. And for the most part, everybody's happy about something like this. This is a safety enhancement, right? This is a way to increase security, especially in a public space. I think for the most part, it was overwhelmingly received on a positive note.
Okay. Well, definitely something for folks to know and feel safe about as they go out to do their holiday shopping this year. Thanks so much, Brett, and thank you for listening to the WRAL Daily Download. Another great way to get WRAL news is the Morning Briefing newsletter. That's a daily email with triangled news, events, and headlines to help you get ready for the day. Sign up at WRAL.com/newsletter.